afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Cornwall Regional Hospital nurses protest over overcrowding. Residents demand repair of Southern Clarendon Road. And later in sports, Montego Bay United reclaim top spot in the Jamaica Premier League. Now the details. Accident and Emergency Department at the Cornwall Regional Hospital staged a protest outside the facility on Friday. They cited poor infrastructure and severe overcrowding. TVJ News understands that a meeting is currently underway with the hospital's management to examine the issues. Antonia Atkinson reports.
From as early as 7 o'clock Friday morning, nurses attached to the Accident and Emergency Department at the Cornwall Regional Hospital converged outside the facility, holding placards to express their growing frustration with conditions at the hospital.
On some of the placards, we have to be taking care of patients on the floor. That's not hygienic. Patients sitting on the chair for a week, 3 weeks or more. We don't have enough bed space to care for our patients effectively.
We, of course, don't have enough staff to manage all of these patients. Sometimes you have one nurse to 50 people, 30 people. Makes no sense. There have been sightings of rats in the department. So, of course, that's a health condition, a health scare.
President of the Nurses Association of Jamaica, Dawn Marie Richards, says there are 39 beds in the A&E department, and up to Friday morning, there were 115 people waiting to be admitted.
The Cornwall Regional Hospital is a 300-bed facility in normal circumstances. Since the hurricane, 140 beds would have been rendered unusable based on the damage to the infrastructure. The damage at Cornwall covers all the areas. So it's not like one area was damaged and you can use another area. Everywhere got a little touch of damage.
She notes that frustration among nurses continues to grow and says the association is closely monitoring how long it will take for the issues to be addressed, warning that the nurses have reached a breaking point.
Well, I go to Cornwall next Tuesday. I spoke to the Director of Nursing Services this morning, and she says there was supposed to be a walkthrough yesterday. She was not at work, but her deputy was. So she will update me as to if the walkthrough took place. If the walkthrough took place, what was the outcome? So that I will know when she returns my call.
Meanwhile, the nurses are adamant that they will not work under the current conditions.
It has been before the storm, but worsened after the storm. We were informed or given prior information that hopefully we'll be getting some better conditions to work in, but we have not been getting any answers and we don't know how to move forward from here.
Antonia Atkinson, TVJ News.
In the meantime, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the ministry is aware of the challenges affecting the A&E department and efforts are on the way to bring relief. In more news, the health sector, construction on the Old Harbour Comprehensive Health Centre in St. Catherine is said to be 75% complete. The health minister toured the site this week. The project is primarily funded through the European Union's investment grant under the Health System Strengthening Programme. When completed, the facility is expected to significantly improve healthcare delivery for residents of Old Harbour and surrounding communities.
It will mean a much larger health center, much bigger facility. It will mean lab services, pharmacy services, you mean x-rays and so on. It will mean more medical infrastructure. I think it's 12 doctors' offices or doctor's suite, bigger waiting area, emergency care, and special emergency services. It will have all the other critical services that the current facility has, maternal care and so on, as well as some additional services.
As the flu season reaches its peak, the Savlamar Comprehensive Health Centre has received a timely boost to its frontline response. Antonia Atkinson has the details in this report.
As nations globally experience an increase in respiratory and flu cases, calls continue for residents in smaller nations like Jamaica to get the flu vaccine. In Savannah Lamar in Westmoreland, the health official says more persons are turning up at the health center with the flu symptoms. Dr. Marcia Graham is the medical officer for Westmoreland.
We have noticed based on our surveillance at our health centers that we are seeing an increased number of persons with the flu. As a matter of fact, even staff members are currently down with the flu. The good thing is that we have the influenza vaccine. Did not impact that because the supply arrived in country just before Melissa arrived, and so persons can make use of the flu vaccine.
She's urging residents experiencing flu-like symptoms to visit the Savannah Lamar Comprehensive Health Center rather than overcrowding the hospital. Dr. Graham explains that mild to moderate flu cases can be effectively treated at the health center level, allowing the hospital to focus on more severe and critical patients.
We encourage them to come to the health center. We want to reserve the hospital services for accidents, emergencies, more critically ill persons. But we are open here, and so we encourage persons to come early and come and get the flu addressed. And if you don't already have the flu, we encourage you to get the flu vaccine so you don't get the bad flu. So persons who have chronic illnesses like asthma, sickle cell disease, diabetes, HIV, we encourage them to get the flu vaccine so they can avoid the bad flu.
The Red Cross and Red Crescent will continue to be here. So I'm here today to see the work that we're doing, to thank our volunteers, to thank the Minister of Health, and to really have a better understanding of what we continue to partner with the Jamaican Red Cross and the government going forward through this period.
Antonia Atkinson, TVJ News.
A mother and daughter escaped injury after their house was destroyed by fire in Maidstone, Manchester. The incident happened around 3:30 Friday morning. They lost everything.
A total of 8 members of staff battled the blaze until the fire was completely extinguished. This dwelling was constructed of Spanish wall sections with concrete, board flooring. The building was completely destroyed.
The police in Discovery Bay St. Anne are advising motorists to proceed with caution as traffic personnel are trying to clear the Discovery Bay main road following a crash Friday morning. The accident involved a BMW motor car and a tractor trailer. According to police reports, the crash happened sometime after 4 a.m. It resulted in the trailer jack knifed across the main road. The 2 occupants in the BMW motor car were taken to a hospital. The condition is unknown. Work crews are now trying to clear the oil spill that has now posed a serious challenge to motorists. The police are appealing for patience. The National Solid Waste Management Authority recently conducted an assessment of the St. Elizabeth Independence Park. This is to track the cleanup progress under the National Debris Management Program following Hurricane Melissa. Alia Bryant reports.
Executive Director of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, Audley Gordon, says it is imperative that the park be fully cleared to facilitate more effective and sustained cleanup operations.
We are investing quite a bit of resources over the next 2 to 3 weeks to remove all the debris from this space. Currently, we have today 12 government units working here, plus a number of private units. We want to clean up the space as quickly as possible.
Mr. Gordon says it is important that landmarks such as the park remain accessible and available for public use. He also adds that the authority has been engaging other stakeholders to assist with the separation of debris.
There will be a separation activity at our disposal site In the communities where it's not as dense as this, we are trying to separate right from there, where the truck carrying the zinc won't carry the wood or the construction debris. But in bulky areas like this, where everything is already mixed, it's very difficult to do the separation in this context. But where we can, we want to separate at source.
Chair of the National Debris Management Committee, Shanique Johnson, says with a dedicated planning and research team, the process has been moving smoothly.
So we are focusing on, firstly, the zinc removal. Secondly, whatever it has relates to the concrete material, the roofing materials, because persons are now in the process of repairing their household, and we are seeing that they're actually putting out those repairs or those debris. We're using town criers to go district, community by community, so that persons can be aware that we are in the areas. We're doing it in a very systematic way.
The authorities appealing to residents to be patient as cleanup efforts continue to restore normalcy to affected areas. Aaliyah Bryant, TVJ News.
A promise this afternoon that power will be restored to sections of Black River in St. Elizabeth soon. Mayor Richard Solomon says this following a meeting with stakeholders and representatives of the Jamaica Public Service. He says creative solutions are being used by the Light Power to restore power to areas where the main lines are still damaged.
Based on what we are hearing, a lot more communities will be coming on stream in another 2 weeks. But in terms of some of the areas, it is going to take some amount of time based on the extent of the damage. It is sort of difficult to give specific timelines, but by the end of February, March, I think most communities will be restored based on the presentation and based on the understanding that we would have received. We were involved in the process in terms of, helping to identify areas that are priorities. Commitments were made, and I'm sure that these commitments will be adhered to, because several commitments would have been made to us prior to now, and they were adhered to.
Residents of Clarendon Gardens and Cherry Tree Lane are calling on the authorities to fix the main road that serves them and surrounding communities in southern Clarendon. They recently blocked the main road to bring attention to the situation. When our news team visited the area, we observed potholes, mud, rocks, and debris along the roadway.
Condition of the road, man, terrible, man, very terrible. Because just yesterday, around 7 cars stuck in there, You understand? You want proper road, because it don't make sense you charge road for fitness. I say your car not fit for the road, but the road not fit for your car. You understand? Look on the you can see the condition of the road. Very terrible. You understand?
We were hoping that this past Christmas, the same would have applied with the patching program, but the government didn't provide any. So it left us in this position.
Months after months now, the road bad condition. Can't get no if you drive permanently on the road, be a patrol, and then throw everything then throw on the road as rainfall, it become a mess. You understand me? So this morning my team decided to come out and decide so we have to put up stoppage to it this morning. You understand me?
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return.
Apology for breach of the Broadcasting and Radio Rediffusion Act. The following statement is a formal apology required by the Broadcasting Commission as remedial action for a breach of license by TVJ pursuant to the Broadcasting and Radio Rediffusion Act. The Broadcasting Commission has determined that on July 26, 2025, between 8 p.m. and 8:30 p.m., TVJ aired an interview containing statements that could serve to normalize the sale of crocodile meat, which is illegal. The management of TVJ apologizes for the lapse in judgment and failure in our gatekeeping responsibilities. The preceding statement was a formal apology required as remedial action for a breach of license by TVJ pursuant to the Broadcasting and Radio Rediffusion Act.
Welcome back to the Midday News. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Caribbean Cream has recorded a net loss of nearly $145 million for the 9 months ended November 30, 2025, after revenue fell sharply due to disruptions caused by Hurricane Melissa and ongoing equipment maintenance. Revenue declined to $578.9 million, down from $686.3 million last year. Operations were halted for a week around the hurricane, and significant damage to the Montego Bay Depot, which remained closed through November, further impacted sales. The company reports that sales are now recovering following the depot's reopening on December 5, and management says measures are being implemented to return the business to profitability. Further afield, the average cost of a new car is at record high. It's around $50,000 according to Edmunds and Kelly Blue Book. No new models under $20,000 remain on the market. Importing cars and auto parts cost 25% more now due to tariffs. U.S. automakers are trying to eat that cost, but the duties seem to have doomed low-cost vehicles. Edmund says the cheapest new car is a 2026 Hyundai Venue at $20,550. For the Business Minute, I'm Kimberly Penny.
And it's time for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, the Antigua and Barbuda government has agreed to hire more than 100 nurses from Ghana, while insisting it has not ended its long-standing Cuban health program. Officials say 120 Ghanaian nurses are expected to arrive later this month to support hospitals and community clinics. The move comes amid renewed U.S. calls for Caribbean nations to cut ties with Cuba's medical program, which Washington has described as exploitative. And on the international scene, the Trump administration is pushing major technology companies to help cover rising power costs driven by new data centers. The White House plans to urge PJM Interconnection to hold an emergency auction today, allowing tech firms to bid on building new power plants. But PJM says it was not invited to the meeting and will not attend. PJM is the largest U.S. power grid operator, serving 13 states and Washington, D.C. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Aliyah Bryant.
Thank you, Aliyah. We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.